What if the last words you ever heard from someone were a terrified whisper? "Someone is trying to kill me." Hours later, that person is caught on airport security cameras, running barefoot, without luggage or passport, before vanishing into a field, never to be seen again. Today, we delve into the haunting story of Lars Mittank, a mystery that has gripped millions and remains unsolved to this day. What makes his case so unsettling is not just the mystery of his disappearance, but the way it all unfolded right in front of security cameras, in broad daylight, in a busy airport filled with travelers and staff. Dozens of people were present, yet no one could explain what he was running from, or why. The story begins in the summer of 2014. Lars was from Berlin, Germany, a tall, athletic young man with sandy hair and an easy smile. He was studying sports management, and those who knew him described him as calm, responsible, and level-headed. He wasn't the kind of person to get into trouble, and he certainly wasn't known for making reckless choices. He was close to his mother, with whom he spoke regularly, and enjoyed traveling whenever he could. When a group of his friends invited him for a week-long beach vacation in Golden Sands, Bulgaria, a lively seaside resort on the Black Sea, Lars didn't hesitate. The trip promised warm weather, nightlife, and a chance to relax before returning to his studies. The first days were exactly what you would expect from a European summer getaway. Sunny afternoons were spent on the beach, evenings filled with drinks, music, and laughter. But just days before the trip was due to end, something happened that changed everything. One night, while out at a local bar, Lars became involved in a heated argument about football soccer, as it's known in other parts of the world. In Europe, such debates can quickly become emotional, especially when team loyalties are challenged. The disagreement reportedly escalated, and according to Lars, it didn't end there. Later that evening, he claimed he had been attacked by a group of men, possibly hired by someone connected to the earlier argument. The details were murky, but what was certain was that he had been injured. Doctors later confirmed he suffered a ruptured eardrum. A local physician advised him not to fly until the injury healed, warning that changes in air pressure could cause serious complications. This posed a problem. Lars's friends had already booked their flights home and had to leave as planned. Lars assured them he would be fine staying behind a few extra days to recover. But once they left, his behavior began to change in ways no one could have predicted. In the days that followed, Lars seemed to unravel. Witnesses reported that he appeared anxious and on edge. He stopped eating, became increasingly restless, and at times seemed to be watching over his shoulder. It was as if he believed someone was following him, and in his mind, the threat was real. He made several strange and disturbing phone calls to his mother during this time. In a hushed, almost whispering tone, he told her there were people after him, that he didn't feel safe, and that she should cancel his bank cards immediately. His paranoia was growing. In one call, he asked her about a medication, Cefzil 500. It's an antibiotic, but his reason for asking about it was unclear. His mother later recalled that it wasn't the words he used that frightened her most, it was the sound of his voice. It was strained, urgent, and filled with an edge of fear she had never heard from her son before. What happened in those last hours before Lars's disappearance remains one of the most haunting mysteries in modern missing person cases. It was as if a switch had been flipped, transforming a rational, grounded young man into someone desperately trying to escape an invisible threat. And then, in the middle of a bustling airport, with surveillance cameras capturing every second, he made a sudden, frantic dash for the exit and vanished. On the night before his disappearance, Lars checked into a modest budget hotel, Hotel Color, located just a short distance from Varna Airport. It should have been a safe and uneventful night, just a final stop before catching his flight home. Instead, it became a night filled with mounting dread. Lars made several more phone calls to his mother, each one more alarming than the last. His voice was tense, almost trembling, as he told her that people were trying to poison him, that he was being tracked, and that he needed to leave Bulgaria immediately. Witnesses at the hotel later described his behavior as deeply unusual. He seemed restless and jittery, pacing up and down the corridors and frequently peering out of windows as though expecting someone to appear. Staff recalled him acting as if danger was lurking just beyond the walls. It was clear that something, whether real or imagined, had pushed him into a state of near panic. By morning, the 8th of July, 2014, Lars had decided on a course of action. He would try to get home, no matter what. He left the hotel and headed to Varna airport, likely hoping that once back in Germany, he would be safe. But before he could board a flight, he needed to see the airport doctor. His ear injury, sustained days earlier in the altercation, still hadn't fully healed, and he needed medical clearance to fly. The examination started normally, but according to the doctor, Lars's demeanor shifted abruptly. His eyes darted toward the door, his breathing quickened, and he muttered something chilling. He didn't want to die there. Moments later, without warning, he leapt to his feet, bolted out of the room, and sprinted down the hallway. The airport security cameras captured what happened next. The footage showed Lars wearing a bright yellow t-shirt, no shoes, and carrying no luggage, running at full speed through the terminal. He burst through the main doors, crossed the parking lot, and headed straight toward the airport perimeter fence. Without hesitation, he climbed over it and disappeared into the endless stretch of sunflower fields beyond. In his sudden flight, he left everything behind: his suitcase, his wallet, his passport, even his phone. These were not the actions of a man preparing for a planned disappearance. It was the frantic escape of someone who believed his life was in immediate danger. Authorities wasted no time once Lars Mittank disappeared from Varna airport. Within hours, the sunflower fields beyond the airport perimeter became the focal point of an intensive search effort. Dozens of police officers, local volunteers, and trained search and rescue teams descended on the area. Highly trained dogs were brought in, their noses to the ground, weaving through the stalks in tight, disciplined patterns. Helicopters circled overhead, their blades churning the summer air, scanning the terrain for any trace of movement. The airport's perimeter roads were sealed off, and nearby villages were alerted to be on the lookout for a disoriented man in a yellow shirt and no shoes. The search stretched beyond the immediate fields. Teams swept along country lanes, knocking on doors in scattered farmhouses and rural homes. They questioned farmers tending to their crops, shopkeepers in small village stores, and drivers passing through the region. The sunflower fields, beautiful and vast from a distance, became a disorienting labyrinth up close. Towering stalks blocked the view in every direction, the rows broken only by narrow dirt paths that led deeper into the green-gold maze. It would have been easy for someone to vanish inside them. Authorities didn't stop with land. Nearby waterways were searched as well: streams, irrigation ditches, and ponds checked for any signs that Lars may have collapsed or tried to cross them, the searchers calling his name into the echoing silence. But for all their effort, there was nothing. No yellow shirt snagged on a barbed wire fence, no footprints in the dry soil, no wallet, no phone, no discarded belongings. It was as if his trail ended abruptly, the path going cold in the middle of the fields. Over the following days, the search radius expanded. Checkpoints were set up on rural roads leading out of the region, and Lars's photograph was circulated widely. Farmers were asked to inspect their land thoroughly, while truck drivers and bus operators were given his description in case he attempted to travel. But days turned into weeks, and the momentum began to fade. Each new sweep ended the same way, empty-handed. By the end of that summer, the official search was scaled back. While authorities kept the case open, the reality was grim. There was no physical evidence, no credible sightings, nothing to explain how a man could run into an open field in broad daylight and simply cease to exist. The investigation left searchers with an uncomfortable, almost impossible conclusion: that Lars had stepped into the fields and, somehow, vanished from the face of the earth. In the months following Lars Mittank's disappearance, small sparks of hope surfaced: sightings, rumors, and whispered accounts that suggested he might still be alive. A woman claimed she saw a man matching his description walking near a small Bulgarian village, not far from where he vanished. Years later, a German truck driver came forward with an extraordinary story. He believed he had picked up Lars, hitchhiking along a rural highway in Germany. The man, he said, seemed disoriented, spoke little, and vanished again before anyone could verify his identity. Each lead brought a flicker of renewed optimism, but every one of them eventually collapsed under scrutiny. Police investigated each claim, only to dismiss them as mistaken identity, exaggerations, or outright hoaxes. For Lars Mittank's mother, the search has never ended. Since that morning in July 2014, she has carried the weight of uncertainty every single day. In interviews, she refuses to speak of her son in the past tense. To her, Lars is still out there somewhere alive, though perhaps lost in ways that go beyond geography. She clings to the possibility that he might be living with memory loss, unable to find his way back, or that he has built a quiet, hidden life under a different identity to escape whatever he feared in Bulgaria. Her hope has endured through a decade of silence. She has appeared on television programs, spoken to journalists, and sat across from police officers in countless meetings, repeating the same plea, that someone, somewhere, might know what happened, and that they will find the courage to come forward. She shares his photographs online, sometimes old family snapshots, sometimes the haunting still frames from the airport surveillance footage. Each image carries the same urgent message that she will never stop searching. Publicly, she remains composed, speaking with the steady resolve of a mother who refuses to give in to despair. But those who have met her privately say the toll is clear. Every year without answers feels like a fresh wound. Birthdays, holidays, and the empty seat at family gatherings all serve as painful reminders of the life that was abruptly interrupted. For her, the search is not just about solving a mystery. It is about breaking the cruel limbo that comes with not knowing. If Lars is alive, she wants to bring him home. If he isn't, she wants to lay him to rest. Either way, the endless questions have become their own kind of prison, and the only way out is the truth. No matter how much time passes, her mission remains the same. Every lead, no matter how small, is followed. Every rumor is checked, because in her heart there is still a belief, fragile but unshakable, that one day the phone will ring and she will hear her son's voice again. The most haunting part of the Lars Mittank case is that we can watch the moment he vanished. In the airport footage, he bursts into view, running with frantic, desperate energy, bare feet slapping the floor, yellow shirt flashing past the walls. We can see his fear, but not its cause. The camera shows his flight, yet hides whatever he was truly running from. He bursts through the airport doors, into the sunlight, and across the parking lot. Beyond that, the footage loses him to the glare and distance, the last clear glimpse being the moment he scales the airport's perimeter fence. Past that barrier, the land opens into vast fields of towering sunflowers. They close in around him like a wall, swallowing his figure whole, and then nothing. He is gone. Strip away the theories and guesswork, and the truth is stark. A healthy young man vanished in broad daylight at a busy international airport, on camera, with no explanation. Dubbed the most famous missing person case on YouTube, the footage has been viewed millions of times, yet it remains a riddle that refuses to let go. In the end, it's the final words from one documentary about Lars that linger. Lars Mittank didn't vanish in the woods or the sea. He disappeared in front of a dozen security cameras, and no one's seen him since. The tape is still there, but Lars isn't. That sentence captures the essence of the mystery, that something so public, so visible, could still be utterly unknowable. And perhaps that's why his story continues to haunt so many. Because if someone can vanish like that, right in front of our eyes. Maybe it could happen to anyone. What do you think happened to Lars Mittank? Share your theories in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell. Our next vanishing case drops Monday, and you won't want to miss it.